Hey, Dr. David Jockers here. And question, have you struggled with a weak immune system? Maybe you've had hormone problems, trouble tasting things or smelling things. Maybe you've got white spots on your fingernails. If you've had any of those signs and symptoms, you might have a zinc deficiency. In today's video, I'm going to go over surprising signs of a zinc deficiency. It's something that 25% of the world's population has, and many researchers actually expect that it's actually a lot higher. We just aren't testing for it, and we're not seeing a lot of these subtle and surprising signs. So I'm going to go over these signs. I'm also going to go over root cause factors as well as the main functions of zinc, and I'm going to talk about testing and what you should be looking for if you are testing your zinc levels, and then of course solutions, how to address it. So let's talk about zinc first. What are some of the main things that zinc does? Well, zinc, basically within our DNA, we actually have these proteins. They're called zinc fingers. And so they're proteins which actually bind to zinc, and they cause the protein to fold properly, which allows the DNA to express itself and allows for proper DNA transcription and carrying out normal cellular functions. And so that's super critical. Also, on top of that, zinc really plays an important role in the immune system. It helps balance the immune system. It helps to upregulate superoxide dismutase, which is one of the major antioxidants within the mitochondria that quenches the superoxide free radical. In fact, SOD, the loss of superoxide dismutase as people age, is one of the things that accelerates the aging process and causes inflammation or chronic inflammation that accelerates aging in the body. So zinc is really key for the production of SOD. If you are deficient in zinc, you're going to have higher levels of intracellular and mitochondrial oxidative stress, and that's the precursor to inflammation and chronic inflammation. So really key there. Zinc also helps activate interferon A, which stops viral replication. So if we have a virus within our cell, zinc is critical for stopping the virus from replicating, basically producing more of itself within the cell and then bouncing into more cells. That's what stops viral replication. So we need zinc on board to stop the virus from propagating itself throughout the cells of our body. So zinc is super critical for a number of main functions in the body. So what are some of the main symptoms? Well, one of them is loss of smell or taste. Many people, when they have a viral infection, they deplete their zinc levels quickly, so they lose the ability to smell and to taste things. Also, on top of that, a lot of times they lose their appetite. And oftentimes, if you don't smell or taste, smell and taste plays a really critical role with appetite regulation. Also, zinc plays a really important role in nervous system function. So a lot of people will have trouble concentrating, they'll have poor memory, and they'll have emotional issues, right? So mood disorders, maybe they'll have anxiety, depression, trouble getting up and going, more lethargy in general if they're zinc deficient because of its important role in nervous system function. Also, zinc plays a really critical role in hormone function, plays a very important role in activating thyroid hormone. See, when your thyroid's producing hormone, it produces T4, which is inactive, and our body has to activate it, has to take one of the iodine molecules off to create T3, which is the active form of thyroid hormone that activates the mitochondria for cellular energy production. And so zinc is critical for the conversion of T4 into T3. If we're zinc deficient, we're not going to get proper amount of thyroid hormone to the cell, which can cause weight gain, low energy, brain fog. It can also cause constipation, dry hair, dry skin. It can cause hair loss, actually. In fact, zinc deficiency is one of the factors associated with premature graying of your hair as well, and kind of like a dry hair and hair loss in general. Zinc deficiency may be behind that as well. Loss of libido, this is really key as well. Zinc is very important for testosterone production and also progesterone production for females, and that's really critical. In fact, zinc actually tells the hypothalamus in our brain to produce, and the pituitary gland, to produce follicle-stimulating hormone, which prepares the ovaries for reproduction. And that's critical, and it helps to stimulate progesterone production for a healthy female cycle. So if you're not having good menstrual cycles, if you don't have a healthy libido, could be a sign that you are zinc deficient. So these are some of the most common signs and symptoms. Also on the fingernails, White spots on fingernails can be a sign of zinc deficiency as well. That has to do with improper circulation. Thyroid hormone is really critical for proper maturation of the fingernail. And so if you're not getting proper thyroid function as well as good circulation in there, you can end up with white spots on the fingers as well as just brittle nails in general, which are common signs and symptoms of zinc deficiency. Of course, frequent colds, fevers, and flus, as well as skin rashes and allergies, really common with zinc deficiency, and also autoimmune conditions, because zinc is really critical for balancing the immune system in general. So if you're dealing with an autoimmune or chronic inflammatory condition, you really have to look at your zinc levels. So what are some of the root cause factors for a zinc deficiency? Of course, it could be a diet deficient in zinc. If you're eating a lot of processed foods that are, basically the ultra processed foods that are highly refined, you're not going to find much zinc in there. Also, if you have blood sugar imbalances, you're eating a lot of these ultra processed foods that have inferior ingredients, not much nutrients, and they're spiking your blood sugar. The more your blood sugar is going up and down, the more we're going to deplete zinc levels. So good healthy diet is critical for optimal zinc levels. Also, if you have low stomach acid production, if you're not producing enough stomach acid because maybe you're eating under stress, maybe you have an infection in your stomach, H. pylori infection, that's depleting your stomach acid, maybe you're older and your body's just not able to produce enough stomach acid, then you can't absorb zinc effectively from the food you're consuming. So you gotta have enough stomach acid. A lot of people are dealing with low stomach acid. Also, a high toxic load is key. We know that copper competes with zinc, and a lot of people are getting high amounts of copper. There's a lot of copper in the foods that we're consuming. If we're eating a lot of grains and nuts and seeds, those are higher in copper. Also, a lot of people have copper pipes, and so when they're drinking water, it tends to be higher in copper and low in zinc. So they're getting more copper, not enough zinc. Also, different heavy metals, things like lead, mercury, aluminum, all compete with zinc as well. So if we have high amounts of heavy metals in our system, from eating ultra-processed foods, from having amalgam silver fillings in our mouth, from a number of different sources, we may have these heavy metals. We could even have them passed on from our parents, particularly our mother. And so if we have high heavy metal load, that's going to deplete our zinc levels as well. So that's key. If we're under a lot of stress, stress depletes zinc levels. So more stress you're under, the more zinc you need. Also, if you're taking any sort of medications, particularly oral contraceptives like birth control pills, steroids, a lot of people with autoimmune conditions are taking steroids. Over time, those steroids deplete your zinc levels even more, causing more and more chronic inflammatory activity in your body. Also, ACE inhibitors. These are given for blood pressure, right? And so they help lower your blood pressure, but they also deplete your zinc levels. There's also other medications, antibiotics, NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, as well as antidepressants that will all deplete zinc levels. So if you're taking any sort of medication, you should consult with your doctor. You should look up online. You can find out if it's depleting your zinc levels, and you want to supplement with extra zinc if that's the case. And so what should your zinc levels look like? Well, if you're doing a lab test, it's actually very inexpensive to add on what we call a plasma zinc and a serum copper. So we actually want to test the zinc and copper levels together, and we have a proper ratio. So your plasma zinc should roughly be between 90 and 130. And the measurement there is in UGDL, right? And so 90 to 130, and then the copper should be roughly 70 to 110. So you should have more plasma zinc than serum copper. Very inexpensive tests to add if you're getting your blood drawn. Okay, go ahead and add those, and you can look at your ratio. Again, it should be a 1 to 1.2 ratio, a little bit more zinc than copper, a little more zinc in your plasma than serum copper. So roughly 90 to 130 with the zinc, and then 70 to 110 with the copper. Now, a lot of people are concerned if you take too much zinc, you might have a copper deficiency, and that is true, but I will tell you this, I've never seen somebody with more zinc than copper unless they were supplementing with high doses. So what is a good dose of zinc if you are supplementing? I recommend somewhere around 10 to 20 milligrams of extra zinc. Always take zinc with meals. If you take zinc away from a meal, you're gonna get nauseous. Most people will get nauseous. That's because you need that stomach acid to really absorb, to chelate and absorb that zinc. So take it with a meal, okay, and that's gonna help with optimal absorption. So an extra 10 to 20 milligrams is great. If you have a cold, fever, flu, something along those lines, taking an extra 20 to 40 milligrams can be really helpful. And in some cases, you may take more, 60, 80, 100 milligrams, but that would be for a very short period of time, maybe 3 or 4 days while you're dealing with an illness, and then go back to maybe 10 to 20 milligrams daily. Okay, most people don't need extra supplemental copper, but you do want to eat zinc, copper-rich foods. So again, the same foods that are high in zinc are also high in copper. The ones that you're going to absorb best are going to be your animal-based foods. Shellfish is actually very high in zinc and copper, and so is fish in general, right? So wild-caught salmon, great source of zinc, great source of copper as well. You can also get it in different shellfish, shrimp, oysters are the highest when it comes to zinc, as well as, really good source of copper as well in a good balanced ratio. Also grass-fed meat, so if you're eating grass-fed red meat, that's going to be a great source of zinc and copper as well. So getting good animal-based foods, making sure that you're taking time, take some deep breaths before you eat, maybe a little bit of apple cider vinegar in water before you consume that so you can produce enough stomach acid to be able to digest and absorb that zinc is really critical here. And so making sure you're getting those zinc-rich foods. Now there are a lot of plant-based foods that are high in zinc, but it's not as absorbable. That's going to be things like pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds are a great zinc source. They're also high in copper, but it's not quite as absorbable because there are a lot of anti-nutrients and things like lectins that can bind to zinc and reduce your overall absorption of the zinc. And so not the best source, but still a source that you're going to get. Also different types of nuts and seeds in general are going to be, good zinc sources in general. So that's what you're looking at. Even avocados have some zinc. That could be a zinc source. But your primary zinc source is going to be meat and seafood, grass-fed dairy, also another source of zinc, eggs, another source of zinc. So primarily animal foods, but you can get some from plant foods as well. If you're not consuming animal foods, then it's even more important to supplement with zinc. And I would take 20 milligrams a day if you weren't consuming animal foods that particular day. So take an extra 20 milligrams of zinc. A good source of zinc would be something like zinc glycinate. That's a really good, highly absorbable form of zinc glycinate. So that's my favorite form of zinc. It's zinc bound to an amino acid glycine. Most people need extra glycine anyways. It's really key for liver detoxification, really key for neurotransmitter production. And so that's a great amino acid to bind to the zinc, and it helps with optimal absorption of the zinc. And we can also use the glycine for a number of different functions in our body. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and got a lot out of it. Remember, making sure that you're testing your zinc. This is something you should be looking at least once or twice a year. Plasma zinc to serum copper levels, and making sure your zinc is in the optimal zone. Again, most people, if you're consuming animal-based foods, you've got enough stomach acid. Okay, most people are gonna get some level of zinc, but taking an extra 10 to 20 milligrams a day can be really helpful. If you're not eating animal-based foods, taking an extra 20, maybe 30 milligrams of zinc can be really, really helpful to optimize your immune system, your brain, your hormones, everything in your body, and really thrive in life. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out my channel, browse the various videos that I've done on similar topics, and also make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button. That way you get notified whenever I put up a new video training. Thanks so much for being a part of our community here, and I really hope you enjoy the videos that we're putting out on a regular basis. Be blessed.